Okay, I'm going to go through a very quick AI visibility audit, and we're going to look at Crowdstrike within cybersecurity. They're one of the largest cybersecurity companies, and unlike Palo Alto, they're not based entirely on acquisitions. So I think other cybersecurity companies and startups can learn a little bit more from their approach. When we look at their overall SEO visibility as a path to understanding their AI visibility, we go through Ahrefs to get a good overview. The things I like to look at is the total number of pages, total traffic, just eyeballing that. That's about 100 to 1,000. It's about 100 visits per page. I like to keep that in mind. Just eyeballing a few of their top traffic pages. So, Cybersecurity 101, cloud security tips. I like looking at Ahrefs just to get a really high overview level. It thinks this is AI content. Obviously, it can be a little bit spoofed, but that's worth keeping in mind. I think a really key thing is the power law effect here, where 42% of all organic traffic comes from a single glossary post, which is super interesting. Glossary posts are still pretty powerful in cloud security. And I think there is an opportunity long term for it to still be a hub, even if they're not super high performers in SEO or they're a little bit too top of funnel for people. I still think it could be a really solid hub and a network for a lot of different channels at once. So I think that's really key there. We'll keep that in mind as we scroll through this list. Cybersecurity 101, 101, 101, 101, 101, 101, 101, 101. Super interesting, right? All their 101 content is what's ranking in Google search. So we'll keep that in mind. I always like to take a little look at their backlinks. Obviously, very large public company. They're going to get a lot of coverage in the media and the press. So it's a little bit unfair to kind of compare their backlinks to just an average site, but super telling for understanding them and their context and the areas that they play. So we scroll down the list. CrowdStrike, resources, data sheets, interesting to see. Online degrees, TSU Tech, etc. What I'll typically do is export this and then do a pivot table off of it. I'll look at this, the one link per domain, and then the group similar as well, and do some further analysis there. I always like to also do best links only to filter out the wheat from the chaff. We'll also take a look and compare them to others in the space and see how they stack up and kind of build a comparative chart there. So that's key as well. Another useful thing, and this ties in both SEO and AI visibility, is taking a look at their site structure overall. So we're going to expand on this. CrowdStrike, EN US. We'll keep going down a little bit further. We can see here that of this, so US as the subfolder is 99% of their overall traffic. Cybersecurity 101, their glossary effectively is 80, a full 80% of organic traffic, which is huge. And I want to call that out versus their just standard blog, right? So we have 500 pages from the blog versus 527 pages from Cybersecurity 101. But Cybersecurity 101 is absolutely crushing it. Why might that be? Well, when you kind of create a dedicated resource section and you're going all in on something and you're having it really well structured, as they have it here, they have it really well categorized out um, by the different topics that they want to cover, with cloud security being 48% of their overall coverage. You really see how the concept of content clusters and internal linking and bringing it all together really works for them. So that's a really strong signal there. And as we've seen, a lot of cybersecurity companies will roll out glossaries or learning or 101 guides, and it's really a multi-channel play. It it gives them a hub where they're talking about topics and adding their spin on it, and then kind of embedding their voice and their approach. It's good for we already know, like as a baseline, it's just good educational material, whether it's for potential clients like CISOs, whether it's lower down in the organization where it's kind of a bottoms up approach. new team members at your own company should read it. Others in the industry that are, the thousands and thousands of cybersecurity professionals or those who are entering the field, students. Imagine a really smart student, senior in college, they're starting to do their research. They keep coming back to CrowdStrike. Imagine like visiting 20 different glossary pages over a few month period. The name CrowdStrike is going to really become embedded in their brain. I think those in the broader field who have lived and breathed cybersecurity for 10, 20 years, all the names are second nature, but there's tons of younger students and younger talent that are really just getting used to the field. And so this is a really solid recruiting tool. And so it should be looked at that way. The big idea and the takeaway there is thinking about multiple ways to win rather than just a single channel. So all that's kind of teeing things up for ChatGPT and AI visibility. So I like looking at Ahrefs because it gives us the overview here. We can see in general Google's AI citations, AI overviews. We've got over 500 pages there. ChatGPT, 100 pages, 97 citations, and then a few others here. I like looking at ChatGPT because the Google AI overviews, it's really going to overlap a lot with SEO best practices. So this tells us a little bit something new. One thing that we've developed internally is exporting ChatGPT citations and then comparing that versus your Google search keyword rankings and just kind of see where the gap is there. There's some companies that the ratio of Google search keywords and rankings is 100 to 1 to ChatGPT citations and mentions. For others, it's 50 to 1. For like brand new companies that are going all in on AI, it might be reversed or it might be 1 to 1, something like that. What I like to look at here is just scroll through just to get a really high level view and see we've got the queries and uh, it's a whole nother rabbit hole to go down. But as Ahrefs explains here, they're basically looking at keywords and then pulling the people also ask questions in order to get some good queries that map to those keywords. And then the volume is taking the top volume for all the keywords that ranks for. Again, this is ongoing and they may be changing this over time. For example, this citations just rolled out recently, which is super interesting to see. But a few call outs here. So what do you mean? Let's look at this. What is Pro XDR? So we've got the answer and the explanation here from ChatGPT, and then we've got a ton of citations. So usual suspects, Reddit, Wikipedia, etc. But then we've got Palo Alto. Let's see any other competitors here. We've got Sophos, Fortinet, etc. And am I seeing? It's got to be in there somewhere. CrowdStrike. Here we go. What is XDR? So we could export this and analyze this further in looking at a few others. What I saw is these are all effectively going to 101 pages. And so what that tells us is, sure, they may not be like the most high converting keywords and going straight to sales landing pages, but it really is the baseline of visibility is getting a lot of these what is, what are, etc. types of questions here. And getting an overview and a lay of the land here is super critical and important. So yeah, I would do exporting and do further analysis here. So the big takeaways here are that glossary and 101 content can be critical, if not the primary way to. I'm doing one more export. It's not the only way to get into ChatGPT at the moment. I wouldn't say only, but I would say like fairly dominant, right? So we can do further analysis on competitors and see which types of content is getting coverage. And we could just look through and see a lot of it is cybersecurity 101, definitions, glossary, etc. And so I think that's an even stronger argument than ever that, especially in the cybersecurity industry where there's a lot of definitions and a lot of terms changing all the time, really want to drill down and produce glossary content to rank in AI search and AI visibility. I was looking at another company and they only had 5 citations at all in ChatGPT, and it was 100% glossary. And this is for a Series A on the path to Series B company that's raised over $100 million, and they still are only showing up for glossary terms. So just wanted to highlight that and give an intro on how to analyze a single company and see where they're ranking. What I also like to do is hop over to ChatGPT, do an incognito search, and just start searching for different terms for that company, just doing it manually for now. And from there, uh, you can get some ideas on what's working and what's not. A few other points that we'll cover next time are really, a good approach is just taking all of your SEO keywords and rankings that you're tracking, because if your company's been around for a few years, you should have really good SEO foundations at the minimum, especially because SEO and AI have a 90% overlap. So you want to be strong in both of those. I've seen the argument that if you're a brand new startup and you want to get traction quickly, go straight to AI, which totally makes sense. At the end of the day, it's content, links, authority, answering the questions, a lot of principles that apply to SEO, as well as off-page, press mention, citations, etc. The list goes on. So there's a lot more to unpack, but this is more of a high-level approach and looking at one of these, and we'll cover more next time. Thank you.